fuck, dude? I came to college trying to go to the library and use a whiteboard to make a video. Apparently it's closed, so I'm walking around trying to see if anything's open. I can find a whiteboard, but in the meantime, if that don't go through, I'll just make this video right here, chit chat about something. I just walked through the cafe, seen someone on the news talking about Donald Trump, time to impeach, talking about random stuff, healthcare. Okay, so here's what I was gonna make a video about. Here's my old gym. I used to hoop in here every single day. I was on a basketball team for a while. But here's what I want to talk about. The things that I do to basically fix the whole situation in the United States. Okay. So the way I look at the United States is basically like an organization. It's like a business. It's it has income in the form of it has a funding mechanism. I'll just leave it at that. We can talk about that in a minute. And then it also has what it spends money on. And those are like the two main important parts, like straight up. So first, we might want to identify the purpose of a government. Okay, so what is the purpose of a government? Well, we gotta go way back in history to like tribes and stuff, and then what it developed into. You know, when they were just tribes, you know, everybody had their little group, their crew, their little chief or whatnot. Let's say in Native Americans, we're talking about Native Americans because we're in America. I'm in America, we're talking about America. You know, the Native Americans might, you know, they had the little tribes or whatnot with the chiefs and everything. They have their own little social structure, whatever. And there might have been a reason for, you know, tribes to kind of unite and, you know, work together. And then you might have to, you know, form a government of some sort to kind of manage those, what would we call them? Agreements, you know what I mean? So I'm not sure that's quite how it came to be. I think it came to be more with like, you know, kingdoms and motherfuckers like taking each other over and war and stuff like that, and then law and stuff like that. But generally speaking, I guess we could just say that the point of government is for these agreements between large amounts of people. And for instance, the United States, you know, we have the federal government and then we have the state governments, okay, you know, and then you have local city governments, okay, and even, you know, I'm at a college, they have like student body governments, you see what I'm saying? So there's the point of the government is like, at this point in time, it's supposed to be like a democratic process for decision making on some large scale for a whole lot of people. So I guess you could say, so we got the government there, so, you know, if we all need something, like let's say roads, airports, public schools, something, you know, we can all throw in a little bit of money with some taxes and then make an agreement to make that thing happen for the benefit of everybody. So like I said, sorry, there's an airport right down the way. Like I said, you know, there's a funding mechanism, and then there's what the money's spent on. That was gross. Thank you, Mr. One guy out of the whole freaking place. Act like you don't. Something wrong with people these days, but that's a different story. Different story, different time. I'm gonna play that one down right there. But anyway, there's a funding mechanism and there's what money is spent on. Those are the two important things. So like I said, you know, we need roads, we need whatever. The government, is like that agreement. Let's say you got the chiefs of the tribes, they come together, hey, we need to like form an army, like fight against, you know, foreign invaders, you know what I mean? They're like, okay, well, we'll put up 10 of our mightiest brave soldiers and y'all put up 10, and, you know, so they put in some, you know, make an agreement, and, you know, they got this collective thing that should benefit everybody. Okay, it's got the funding mechanism and what the money is spent on. That's just a vague way of saying it. Okay, so the funding mechanism of the United States at this point is retarded. The whole monetary system and all that good stuff is retarded. It's perpetual debt, for one. It's perpetual debt, which leads to inflation, which leads to higher cost of living. And then on top of all that, it also leads to unequal distribution of wealth. But on top of all that, they want to tax the people to kind of pay back some of that debt and even try to fund some stuff. Okay, so the whole funding mechanism is retarded because it's debt-based. They're literally borrowing money and spending it on stuff. They're just borrowing money. That's how the government's basically funded, generally. That's retarded because, honestly, the government could just print money, be debt-free, and spend it on stuff. And a lot of people are like, oh, no, don't do that. Well, you know what they're doing instead? They're borrowing it. They're borrowing it. Somebody else is just printing it. They're borrowing it and going in debt and spending on random stuff. That's the exact same thing, just there's debt involved. Okay, so the funding mechanism, honestly, I don't think that the federal government should have the ability to. I think it should be in the state's hands. If the federal government wants to do something, it should be like the chiefs of the tribes. The states come together and say, okay, we'll put up a little bit of this and come to an agreement. The federal government shouldn't be like this standalone thing like it is. It's a bizarre runaway thing. It's the debt's crazy. I'm gonna go upstairs. So, funding mechanism is number one. I think that the states should print their own money, and I think that should be a very closely regulated thing. There should be democratic processes on what to spend money on. Like, if you want some roads or something, everybody should be talking about it. There should be let's just look at the federal government and see everything that's wrong with it. It's a debt-based funding mechanism, and they're spending money on retarded shit. For instance, there was that girl on TV talking about healthcare. Okay. I think there was like just a $700 billion defense bill that was recently passed to spend on random war machines. Okay. You know how much money that is? What does that really amount to, though? I mean, it amounts to what they spend the money on. They'll spend it on tanks, but they have to build those tanks. Resources need to be gathered. That takes manpower and other resources. You know what I mean? So really, when you say $700 billion spending bill, it's really how many resources are you sucking up out of the world? With that $700 billion that you just, that banks created and you borrowed. You know what I mean? That bank's printed out of nowhere, or literally just, I'm not gonna say out of nowhere, but that bank's printed and you borrowed. How much resource are you sucking up out of the freaking, the whole productivity of mankind with that $700 billion defense bill? And that's really what it comes down to. How much resource is being, just sucked up. And it's a perpetual debt thing. The money's created by banks. The United States borrows it. It's just a weird, stupid cycle with treasury bonds and stuff. And it's spent, and it's literally just sucking up resources. It's retarded, and it's spent on stupid stuff. Instead of building roads and schools, it's spending it on war machines, starting random wars, and going and starting problems with random people around the world. Instead of healthcare, it's spending money on war machines. There's also all of the alphabet companies like these NSA and TSA and all these random things. They're, like I just said, borrowing money, spending it on stupid stuff. They got to pay paychecks of TSA agents, And a lot of people are like, oh, don't say nothing about that. My job depends on it. When we go further back, into the economic aspect, it's the economy's been fucked up through the whole monetary system. And I don't know if there's any whiteboards in here. I need a whiteboard and somewhere to talk. I'm not ready for that yet. But now the whole economic system is basically sabotaging the entire economy, the whole freaking technological progress, all the natural, industrial, economic process and progress that would have occurred otherwise. And like I said, unequal distribution of wealth. And, so you're like praying to keep your TSA job. Really, I mean, we fix the system altogether, which is kind of a challenge, granted how long it's been running stupidly. Then, you won't be hoping for that job. You might be, a little cool with how things are. How you doing? Yeah, so a lot of people are like, oh no, don't talk about TSA, don't talk about policing, don't talk about the army, that's my livelihood. Well, if the economy was working right, the price of living wouldn't be so high. You probably wouldn't even be having to work any type of stupid job like that. You wouldn't be having to work as much. You know what I mean? Your little $7.50 an hour paycheck could afford you a house. The cost of living goes up with inflation, and there's unequal distribution of wealth. I talk about that in some of my videos. I call it like the monetary food chain and trickle-down inflation and stuff. So yeah, if that situation was rectified, it would probably, certain things might have to, there's been ill-gotten gains that might have to be like stripped from the hands of certain people. But generally speaking, some surgery needs to happen and then, rectify the whole situation and probably work itself out a lot better. With the funding mechanism. So don't worry about your little stupid job. Don't worry about robots coming up. Overall, that makes life easier for everybody. Less manpower, that has to do stuff. And I mean, just the fact that people are worried about the jobs, in light of stuff like that is an obvious indicator that something's wrong. We should be happy about, having to do less labor overall. But it's the economic mess up with it all. Anyway, so the funding mechanism is stupid. The government's borrowing money and spending it on stupid stuff. Instead of like streets, healthcare, helping homeless people, get on their own 2 feet and, feeding people, stuff like that. They're spending it on war and stupid stuff like that. And people are going to work as freaking TSA agents, as FBI, as spying on people. They're like, and they're brainwashed. They're probably told, oh yeah, you're doing good, da da da. But I mean, at the end of the day, that's a whole nother aspect, how brainwashed people are, thinking everything's all good. It's like, no, dude. It's not good that, George Bush lied about weapons of mass destruction and, sent thousands of people over to Iraq and, basically decimated the entire country and terrorized the entire population. That's not good. I don't care which way you think. You know what I mean? That's just what it is. A lot of people are brainwashed thinking what they do is good. A lot of cops think, enforcing certain laws are good. Oh yeah, we're doing good. We're saving you, buddy. Putting you in jail for the rest of your life. Okay. A lot of people are brainwashed on some stupid shit. But, the money's being spent on stupid stuff. That's the whole point. And it's the debt-based funding mechanism. Okay, so there is the economic aspect of this all that is kind of relevant. Like there's this thing I call an artificial demand. If the government, for instance, prints money and spends it on college grants, gives people college grants, okay, that's a natural supply and demand function. It's printing money, which is going to compete with other money, which is going to eventually bid up the price of college. It's already happening. Okay, same thing with welfare, same thing with Medicare. And that's a fundamental economic argument against socialized medicine and stuff. But the obvious, simple concept, the simple argument is the first one is the economy's fucked up. If it wasn't fucked up, cost of everything wouldn't be so high. If there was a real free market economy without money creation, it might be a lot better. But second argument is just generally speaking, it's way better to spend money on things that actually help the people than stupid wars and stuff. You know what I mean? You're sending people, it's bizarre. It's, the government is spending money that it borrows on stupid stuff. It's just bizarre. It's retarded. It's totally unrighteous and stupid. Okay, so if that's happening, it's one step in the right direction just to quit doing that and start, spending it on stuff that actually helps the people, like welfare or whatever. That's just an obvious, simple argument. Beyond that, yeah, we can rectify the whole economic situation, try to fix it all up. That's going to take some surgery. That's going to take some serious reconciliation. You know what I mean? It's no joke. So generally, first step, start spending money on good stuff. Second step, try to rectify the whole situation. I'm running out of time on my phone, so I didn't want to cut off before I was done. So I guess that's the overview, man. It's crazy, the funding mechanism, and that's all it really comes down to. It's like a business. Where's the money coming in? What's it being spent on? Is it running good, or is it being stupid? Is this business about to fail, or is it, the government's like an organization of people. You know what I mean? We want everybody to succeed and do better in life and stuff. So help. Got struggling people, help them out. Don't send them off to random countries and get their legs blown off, you know what I mean? And that's crazy. It's simple economics, man. Simple economics, simple fucking political. Economics is the basis of it all. The politics, that's irrelevant, really. It's just the economics. It's like a business. Where's the money coming in? What's it being spent on? Is it being spent wisely, or is it not? And that's all it really comes down to. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you guys for listening. I'm out. Don't want this cut off before I'm done, so talk to you guys later, right?